What's your opinion about the relevance of organizations like BRICS and the SCO with all their contradictions and incoherent objectives? So when you have an organization like the BRICS or the SCO, it these organizations typically go in a certain direction, and that direction is determined by which is the strongest and most influential country in this group. And in both these organizations, BRICS or SCO, the Chinese are the most powerful and most influential and the richest. And therefore, these organizations have a certain agenda, which is to further the Chinese agendas and the Chinese national interest. Now, BRICS is more of a loose configuration, and it doesn't really have much of a direction in which it is going. There is a BRICS bank which does some lending for development work in various countries, etc. But it's essentially going in the direction of China. And SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, is basically run by two countries, China and Russia. India is now a part of it, but India is basically a junior member. India doesn't really set the agenda. So when you have organizations like these, it's always the heavyweights who set the agenda and take the organization in a certain direction. The overall objective of these organizations is always to further the agenda and national interest of the predominant member or members, and that is what we see, right? So that's why India had something called SARC, but it never took off because because Pakistan is a member of SARC, and Pakistan was always sabotaging what India was doing, and India always kept Pakistan as an equal. And now basically India seems to have abandoned the entire idea of SARC. India should look into creating Indian Ocean region alliance or of some sort. But first of all, India needs to become more powerful economically and militarily, and then it can think along these lines. So essentially, to answer your question in brief, it's all about the relevance is that they further the agenda and the national interest of the most powerful countries within these organizations. So that's what BRICS and SCO, whether the objective, the foundational objective is that or not, eventually it's always that this is what ends up happening. It furthers the national interest and agenda of the most powerful country or countries within the organization.